At 2 o'clock in the morning on the desolate plain, a deafening blast tore through the night of 331 BCE. 2.5 miles away, a 105mm shell instantly pierced the dense Macedonian phalanx, limbs and shattered spears flying through the fiery sky. In the absolute darkness, a 68-ton steel behemoth watched coldly through its thermal imaging system, observing the terrified ancient rulers. This was a one-sided massacre. If you threw an M1 Abrams, armored with depleted uranium and powered by a gas turbine, directly into Alexander the Great's 47,000-strong army, could it single-handedly destroy the entire Macedonian Empire? It sounds absurd, but when you quantify the 23,000-fold disparity in force, you feel a suffocating sense of godlike domination. Alexander's soldiers had never seen such a creature. It needs no horses, fires no arrows, yet can harvest lives at distances beyond human vision. When the first light of dawn pierces the swirling dust, Macedonia's elite companion cavalry launches their proud charge. This invincible force that had crushed the Persian Empire attempts to pierce the metal monster's hull with their long spears. Scientific calculations deliver a bleak truth. The full force thrust of an ancient spear generates roughly 110 joules, while the M1 tank's composite armor withstands millions of joules. Spears break, horses scream, yet the steel behemoth's treads never pause. Next, the roar of the 1,500-horsepower gas turbine fills the rugged terrain. The tank reaches 45 miles per hour, leaving the charging horses far behind. Its turret swings, firing an M1 Su-100T8 canister shell. 1,100 tungsten pellets fan out, covering a 700-meter radius. Infantry holding 5-meter spears have nowhere to hide. Their proud 16-layer formation becomes a lethal, living target before the supersonic metal storm. In this illusion of dimension-reducing force, the steel colossus seems to have ground the ancient world's supreme power into dust. But on a blood-stained hill, 26-year-old Alexander does not draw his sword. He fixes his gaze on the killing machine, scanning its smoke-spewing rear and the pauses between each shot. A deadlock that would chill modern civilization quietly forms in the mind of this ancient genius. Those bodies vaporized in blinding white light, those dense formations shredded before they could scream. These are not supernatural punishments. They are pure physical consequences of a 68-ton steel machine burning aviation fuel. Human tissue under millions of joules of impact is like wet paper. This one-sided slaughter is the inevitable result of millennia of technological disparity. But if you think the young king atop the hill would drop his sword and beg for mercy, you are mistaken. Alexander stands at the edge of a battlefield littered with corpses, staring coldly at the fire-breathing steel monster. Shedding fear is instinct for a top ancient military mind. Do not imagine the Macedonian army of 331 BCE as a mob of barbarians with sticks. Recall the Battle of the Hydaspes, when facing 200 wall-sized elephants. The visual shock was no less than seeing a modern tank today. Huge hooves crush soldiers. Tusks tear through defenses like wheat. Huge hooves crush soldiers. Tusks tear through defenses like wheat. Ordinary men would flee, but Alexander observes, probes, and tests the monster's limits. He notes that frightened elephants run wild, and orders dense phalanxes to part, letting the beast pass, while light infantry hunt the riders. In a single campaign they fully neutralized what had terrified countless armies. Then consider the siege of Tyre. Facing an isolated island fortress with strong walls and no navy, Alexander's engineers built a 1-kilometer-long causeway across stormy seas and erected 50-meter-high siege towers. The ancient war god's dictionary contains no retreat, only precise, ruthless calculation. When the M1 tank rampages through the battlefield, Alexander does not see an invincible monster. He sees data exposing weaknesses. The Iron Beast runs faster than cavalry but is limited to flat terrain. Its gun can wipe out hundreds, but each firing has a pause. Most fatal, it does not graze or drink, it's utterly isolated. The 4 modern crew inside watch red dots collapse across the thermal display, thinking victory is assured. But the fuel gauge quietly nears the red line. Outside, tens of thousands of Macedonians do not flee. They grip shovels, digging feverishly in deadly silence, forming a giant spiderweb to tighten the trap around the starving steel giant. The young emperor on the high ground does not kneel amidst the rain of blood. His eyes fix on the fire-breathing monster, spotting a hair-raising flaw among the scattered limbs. This is no invincible supernatural force, it's a severed, countdown-bound, premature beast. 68 tons of composite armor can repel all ancient weapons but cannot resist physics. Separated from modern logistics, the Earth's most powerful land machine is just a lonely, moving hourglass. Let's strip the high-tech facade to see its true limits. Its ammo compartment holds at most 55 rounds. Even if each shell kills 100 soldiers, only about 5,000 lives can be taken. But the Macedonian army numbers 47,000. When the last brass shell hits the floor, the 105mm gun becomes useless scrap. Even more despairing is its appetite. Each engine start consumes 10 gallons of aviation fuel. Idling burns 15 gallons per hour. On the plains of Mesopotamia in 331 BCE, there is no fuel for resupply. When the 500-gallon tank empties, the 70-kilometer-per-hour beast becomes a 68-ton metal tomb. The crew inside face collapse. 4 modern soldiers against 47,000 endlessly rotating ancient veterans. 48 hours, absolute human limit. Muscles spasm, vision blurs, nerves fail. On the other side, Macedonian engineers, under cover of night, dig trenches and set traps, forcing the tank into dead ends. Without massive industrial support, even ultimate tech is mere expendable hardware. The laws of war have never changed in 6,000 years. No matter the difference in weapons, war is about logistics, organization, and human resolve. Modern machines severed from their lifelines are as fragile as paper against classical endurance and attrition. Wind and sand scour the treads. The turbine lets out its last feeble breath. The thermal display flickers twice, then goes black. Around the darkness, 40,000 torches glow like stars, slowly tightening the circle. Alexander's noose is long and silent. These ancient humans do not need to pierce 700 millimeters of armor. They hang back like wolves 2 miles away, never forming dense lines, never charging directly. They let the 68-ton metal giant burn through its 500 gallons of aviation fuel. The ultimate cost of dimension-reducing firepower is never death by enemy blade, it's death by system depletion. The technological surge of an era ultimately crashes against the immutable laws of physics. The M1 tank's turbine is a voracious beast. A single ignition consumes 10 gallons. Idling burns 15 gallons per hour. On the plains of Gaugamela in 331 BCE, there is no underground fuel pipeline, no logistics convoy. When the gauge hits red, the 45-mile-per-hour killing machine instantly becomes a 68-ton iron coffin. Its 55 main rounds, even if each kills 100 soldiers, max out at 4,000 to 5,000 casualties. Alexander commands 47,000 living, rotating warriors. The 4 modern crew face a 48-hour physiological limit. When nerves collapse, muscles spasm, and eyes bleed, they face Macedonian engineers who built 50-meter-high siege towers. These ancient engineers dig trenches and build traps, forcing the tank into immobilizing dead ends. Without massive industrial support, technology is just consumable. War's laws have never changed. The technological gap cannot mask the brutal essence of logistics, organization, and human will. When modern bloodlines are severed, the machine becomes as fragile as paper, against classical endurance and attrition. Wind and sand scour the treads, the turbine sighs its last, and silence descends. Thermal imaging flickers out. 40,000 torches in the night tighten the encirclement. If you were the tank commander, fuel exhausted, radio dead, what message would you send to the night sky of 2,000 years ago? Call for air support that will never come, or leave a final epitaph for civilization.